Hello everybody and welcome to our MBUX Tech Help video. This is the brand new Mercedes-Benz user experience is what that stands for, and it replaces the previous command system. We'll be going in depth with all the different features, and of course you can skip around to different features if you want to learn something specific. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Now, to start off with, the biggest and probably most important change with the MBUX system versus command is the control methods. Mercedes now allows for 4 different control methods here on the new MBUX system. So what you'll be looking at is the brand new trackpad down here in the center console. You also have a touchscreen right here. You have a touchpad controller on the right side of the steering wheel that also controls the main display. And then finally, the last thing is the brand new advanced intelligent voice commands. Also, backing up the system, we do have a lot of horsepower. That's worth pointing out. So we have a 6-core NVIDIA processor and 8 gigs of RAM. So for the very first time, we now have basically computer processing inside of a car with all the full horsepower behind it. Now I'll go ahead and start working our way through the features here. This is where you'll land. This is your home screen, so you basically have your applications right across the top here. And you can scroll through, of course, using your touch screen or by swiping here on the touchpad controller. So we'll go ahead and start off here in the phone section. So we go straight into our contacts. And as you can see, all of your contacts have automatically synced over from your smartphone. You can also quickly toggle by clicking on one of these letters to skip to that particular section. In the top corner here, we have our messages. This is where you'll have different types of notifications across the entire system. You will notice that underneath of each section, you have basically a shortcut button, and that's the car guessing what type of function you'll actually be using. So if you'll see on our navigation here, when we scroll over to that, underneath of that we have our home function. So that would be a quick way, without even going into the navigation section, I can immediately add my home address and navigate straight to there. Anyways, we'll jump into the navigation here. So as you can see, this is the newest Mercedes mapping technology. You do have pinch to zoom, of course, and you can do that on both the touchscreen and the trackpad. You'll also notice, while it's not at the street level, you do have a satellite map once you zoom out a little bit further. Now across the bottom here, we have basically our shortcut to just head straight into navigating. So what you'll do is just press this Where To button, and you'll notice a keyboard pop straight up here. By default, it already knows what state you're in, so you can just go ahead and start typing. As you can see, super responsive. You do also have the option to hand write in what you're looking for. And of course, the big thing is that you can use voice commands this year, and we'll get into that just in a second. Now I'll hop into some of the settings here. We can turn on and off our parking, traffic, and highway information. You can also hop into the advanced section. This is where you can change a lot of things like your how you want your map to be set up. So we can have both 3D maps in here as well as in the infotainment or in the multimedia display. You can also change the auto zooming as well. Now you can also choose which map element you want to show up. So you have the satellite map when you're zoomed out, like I said. You can also switch to certain areas if there's something that you frequently visit. For instance, we'll say gas stations, so we can turn on those POIs. You can see when I check that off over here in the map display, when I go back out of this and zoom in, now we have our gas station show up marked straight onto the map here. And then this over here shows us our route overview. So when we add a destination, so for instance, we will say I'm going to add this nearest gas station. Now the next place we're going to visit is our radio section. So here in the radio, we do have the XM satellite radio, or you will notice we also have FM and AM radio available as well. Each of those does have its own volume, by the way, so you can as you see, you can have different types of volume for both the AM, FM, and XM radio. Down along the bottom here, you've got your presets, which you can just very easily scroll through different pages of them. And then to set a preset is super easy. All you have to do is just tap right there, and as you can see, it just fills in a different type of preset, and you can mix different types of stations across the bottom, so you can have XM next to FM and AM. Now we can click here, we can actually do a channel search, so we could say rock music, and as you can see, it's found 2 different rock stations, so we could switch to this, and we found something by the genre. The same does go also for the XM satellite radio as well. Now when we hit the settings, this is where you can make different settings to your bass, mid, and treble. You also have, depending on what type of audio system you have, you can make even more types of adjustments. So we have the upgraded Burmester sound system in this 2020 GLC. So what we can do is we can turn on and off like the sound focus to focus on just the front rows of seats to be optimized versus the back rows. And you can even do sound profiles as well. Now related to that, we have the media. It's just separated. This is for all the other types of audio controls that you may have. So this, of course, is our Bluetooth audio controls. So you can also switch to USB or, like I said, any other type of multimedia controls. When I click that button, I can see the current queue and switch between songs like that. I do also have the ability to search on my device, which is very handy, so we can find playlists or all songs. This is actually right now Google Play Music. So as you can see, it can go straight into the device and actually let me search and find all the stuff, so I never have to pick up my phone to say switch a song, switch to a different playlist, something like that. That's definitely very handy and different from most of the competition, the way they handle things. Alright, the next section over is comfort. This basically has to do with our ambient lighting system. Now most new Mercedes models do come with ambient lighting. This model here has the advanced 64 color ambient lighting. So we do have the settings, of course, for the brightness, both front and rear. We also have all the color selections that we want to make. So as you can see, we have tons of different ones, and we can switch this. We can switch to animations, as well as welcome effects, and have it change to be blue or red as you adjust the temperature up to cooler, down to warmer. Now shooting over to the next area, we have information. This just has various things concerned about using the vehicle. So we have our consumption, we have different things concerned about performance, so you've got your torque and everything like that. Hit vehicle here, we see our percent of acceleration and braking. We also have the owner's manual, which is very nice. A lot of recent models have had this represented digitally. So this is very handy because you may not necessarily have your owner's manual on hand, the print version, and also it's just difficult to find things a lot of times. So this allows you to just click up here, do a search. We can say tire, and then you can see we have different types of results. So we have checking the tire pressures manually. So now we have how to check that and what types of tips and different types of information that we may have regarding that specific thing. Now over here we have the Mercedes Me stuff. This does go along with the Mercedes Me application on your phone, which you will connect to the system. So we do have our smartphone applications. This is standard on all the models with MBUX. You have both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay systems. Beyond that, you do have the special Mercedes Me content here. This does allow you to attach the vehicle to your specific application by scanning this QR code that's appearing right here. And then finally, you actually have a built-in browser which will allow you to browse. This model does also come with a Wi-Fi hotspot, and of course it is connected to the cellular towers. And one of the big benefits of this system is also that we have profiles. So when you click that at the top here, you can create different profiles for the different people that will be driving, and that will allow them to customize the entire system to the way they like it, another person to the way they like it, and then you can simply switch between them. And I do believe you can link that to the different key fobs as well, so it will be automatic when you get into the vehicle. Now, swiping down on the home screen brings you to what Mercedes calls themes. Now what these do basically is tailor all different parts of the vehicle kind of together to go around a certain type of theme. So for instance, I just clicked on experience. Now what this does is it changed the theme of the whole vehicle into sport mode. The drive mode became sport mode. The theme kind of darkened the colors down. You know, more or less, it just kind of tailors a lot of different parts of the vehicle to a certain type of combination. So we have lounge for relaxing, so it just kind of changes the way that things are set up to be more relaxing. And you can also create your own custom theme as well. And then finally down here along the bottom here, you'll find favorites. This just allows you to customize different shortcuts to anything in the system. So for instance, like the owner's manual that we were in, you know, that takes several steps to get there. But if you frequently want to use that, then you can just set that down here in the favorites so you can really quickly access it. Alright, now one of the biggest features of this system are the advanced voice commands. So we'll go ahead and dig into that since that's one of the most powerful parts of this system. Now you can push the button right here, but the big feature of the system is that we now have a quick launch command, just like Amazon Alexa or Google Home, and that's going to be, "Hey Mercedes."
How may I help you?
I'm cold.
I'm setting the temperature on the driver's side to 63 degrees.
So, what that basically demonstrates is one of the biggest things, and that's just that the MBUX system integrates all the car systems in. So we have control of everything, not just the basic navigation and a couple infotainment functions like you do in a lot of other vehicles, but we now have control of pretty much all the vehicle functions. So for instance, another thing it can do is open the moonroof. "Hey Mercedes,
How can I help you?
close the moonroof."
I'm closing the roller sun blind on the sliding sunroof.
Now, the last thing I want to point out with the MBUX system is going to be digging into our settings. Now, just like most features of this system, Mercedes has done a very good job here of making things very easy to navigate. So what you actually have the ability to do here is click this button right here, 360, and you can spin this car around and actually start to select different types of functions on the vehicle, and then find the settings that go along with that. That's a very neat feature. So for instance, as you just saw, I scrolled around, clicked on the headlight, and now here I am in the lighting settings. So I can both change ambient lighting, exterior and interior lighting, daytime running lights, stuff like that. Now you don't have to do it that way. You can go across the top here and click the different tabs. So you'll notice you have your assistant systems for your safety systems, vehicle settings. I'm not going to go through these types of things because they do vary depending on which type of Mercedes model you have. But the last thing over here is your system settings, and those are regarding the MBUX system. So you can see we have our design and displays. So this does allow us to change our different types of designs. This right here is adjusting right now the multi-function display. We have our display brightness, so we can turn that up to be brighter. Turn off the display, and we can also switch to day and night modes. For our controls, we have both handwriting, we have touchpad sensitivity, haptic feedback, and acoustic feedback. So if you don't like the ticking or whatnot, you can actually turn that off. You also have your online control. That right there is where you actually turn on your online voice control subscription. You can also adjust the level of sound for the different types of voice and audio recognition. Inside of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, this is where you can turn on and off those types of functions here. So what we can do here is you could activate your the vehicle's hotspot, and you can scroll up here to the Wi-Fi, and this is where you will find the password Then underneath that, you basically have some basic information about time and date, units, software information, and whatnot. But it is still important that you can see that we do have the ability to software update. It can software update over the wireless signal, and it will continuously update without you having to come into the Mercedes dealership. And then finally, you can system reset if that's something you need to do. But anyways, that pretty much is all the features of the brand new MBUX system. As you can see, this is really a ground up redesign, totally different from the command system, and it really represents one of the most advanced infotainment systems currently available in any car on the market right now. But we hope that you found this helpful, and be sure to join us again as we check out more infotainment systems in different types of cars.